Hey guys, how's it digging? I'm the nerdy movie guy, and now I'm gonna apologize in advance. I know I have a cold, so my voice probably sounds like crap, and I don't know how well the audio is gonna translate once uploading this video to YouTube. So if the audio is just absolute crap, I apologize for that. But I have the cold, and I'm not gonna let it bring me down and prevent me from pursuing my passion, reviewing movies. So here we go. Today we're gonna talk about Kick-Ass 2. So I know it's sort of random to review a sequel without the original, or at least that's something I don't believe I've done yet. But regardless, I saw the first one a while back. I just watched the this one today, and so I got the steelbook for it. So it's pretty neat. It's got some cool characters on there. It's sort of you remember from the first one with the main character having green and the villain with red. I sort of like how in this one it sort of emulates the character's colors, um, where the villains got the red and then heroes got the green. Thought that was pretty cool. It's a nice copy. Got this during the holidays last year, so this is pretty cool to have. And for this movie, what I like about this franchise, generally speaking, is it's a it's a comic book movie, genre themed movie. So I don't know if there were Kick-Ass comics back in the day or not. I think it's an original idea. I never know because I know there are just millions of comics and I just personally never read them. So I don't know if this was original story or not with the first movie, but regardless, I think what these movies sort of capitalize on is the idea of regular people playing vigilante or playing superhero or playing villain. And it just goes to show, I think, a more realistic version of what it would really be like. So for this review, unfortunately, I just want to skip over everything in the first movie and get into this one. So for this one, we sort of see our familiar characters in the beginning, and we sort of get a picture of what it's been like for them. And with our main character, we see it's sort of the same as the first one. I thought that when they moved to a sequel, they might have made it more like a superhero movie and just, well, now everyone knows exactly how to fight it and it's just great at it. But they're not, and that was something I noticed immediately is they kind of kept the sort of quality that the first one had. Just in the first 10 minutes I was able to get that, so that was pretty cool. And because of one of those themes, I think it's just, not only is it a funny movie, but it's just sort of a lot of their reasons and a lot of their backstories. It's just something that's relatable, wanting to fight back against people. And although most of us wouldn't do it, I kind of feel like if real people were to try to play vigilante, it's just something that, like in the movie, it would be cool to just watch and support and just kind of see how that would go. So that's why I love these movies, is I think it just sort of presents that idea of something that probably will not happen for real, but if it did, it would just be a neat concept. So regardless, in this one, we get the villain is back. His father died in the last one, so now he wants revenge. And it's a revenge story. So we have our it's sort of a straight shooter kind of story going into this one. And it's one of those things that, since they take the ridiculous comedy from the heroes and villains, it just sort of blends well in this kind of a movie. The cast just works really well with the comedy aspect and the sort of ridiculous costumes and names given to these heroes and villains. And most of their names, it's just, I mean, that's the joke in and of itself, is most of their names. And it's just really cool to see because I feel that the team behind this movie just had fun with it. And I feel like some superhero movies nowadays, maybe not all of them, but there are some where they're released just because it's time for the next hero to get a movie. There's really not a lot of passion behind some of the movies anymore. And that's not all of them. A lot of them do have passion still, but it's becoming more and more noticeable. The ones that don't have any passion, it's noticeable and it stands out, and not in a good way. And that's why I think this movie was so fun for me to watch, because it just sort of it does stand out in its own way, but it's in a good way. And because you see the passion behind the concept and the story and the characters. So in this movie, like I said, it's sort of just a straight shooter kind of plot, but we get to see more of their personal lives and what it means to be a hero for them. And it's not fair to compare this movie to movies like Spider-Man. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 was a film about his identity, of the pros and cons of being a person and a hero. And this movie sort of tackles the same concepts. Now, I'm not comparing it to Spider-Man. Obviously, they have a very different type of quality, effort, and love put into them, but the tone feels similar, and that's something that was pretty cool. Because in this movie, for the heroes and the villains, we get to see the pros and cons of being both. And the character, the villain, he has one of the people close to him is killed in front of him, and it's sort of this awakening, and he sort of turns even darker, but he uses it as character development instead of just being some random shock scene. It serves the story and pushes it forward. And I feel like a lot of action movies, because this is an action movie, a lot of action movies where someone's sidekick or butler or assistant, when they're killed, it's just sort of those, oh no, and they move on. But this movie is sort of served a purpose of the plot. So that sort of detail I could appreciate. And there are just little details that you can just tell the team behind the movie. You can just tell, they just love being a person. And when it comes to writing a ridiculous plot, there's nothing, it's rated R, but it's not too much. It's not overwhelming. Even the villain, he was killing one of the heroes in the movie. This hero has a dog. And one of the other villains he teamed up with says, should I kill the dog now? And he goes, no, I'm not that evil. And it's just, all of a sudden, this villain's relatable now. And it's just things like that. That's just sort of fun to see in a movie with these sort of themes and concepts. So regardless, I love the action. I think it was just, this was a hilarious movie through and through. It's very entertaining, especially for someone who's got a cold, when you really feel like not doing much during the day. To have a funny movie like this, it just sort of lifted my spirits, really helped the day for me personally. And I just love movies like this that can just give you some enjoyment no matter what kind of level. So it was fun to watch. The acting's what you expect from a comedic comic book genre style movie. But nevertheless, I think the acting was all right for what this movie is. I think it was fun. It's entertaining. It's all I need from something like this. If you haven't seen this franchise before, that I'm aware of, there are only 2 movies. The second one was, I believe, an hour and 40 minutes, so they're not really long. It's not like watching Avengers Endgame or Avatar Way of Water, where it's like half the day. It's just an easy, simple watch. So if you're interested in these movies, I check them out. I don't remember if the first Kick-Ass has a Steelbook copy available. I know this one was, or I've personally seen this at Best Buy. I can't recall if it's a Best Buy exclusive or not. I know they make the first Kick-Ass in 4K. I just don't know if it's Steelbook. And that's what this one is. This one's 4K. I forgot to mention that. But regardless, if you want to get your hands on a copy, if you're looking for a more affordable option, I know there's Blu-ray copies of both movies. So just if you want an entertaining comedic movie that sort of doesn't necessarily mock the comic book genre, but sort of just has fun with it, this is the movie for you. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Keep it digging.